What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing all right today. Open season operator here. Thank you for watching. I'm out here today at the Blendery in Oak Point, Texas. This is a really unique establishment. Pretty much their background here is they source barrels from distilleries all over the country. They're in there all the time tasting, mixing, and blending, making incredible, unique barrels, one-of-a-kind bottles. It's a really great establishment. What have you guys heard about this place?
I've heard nothing but great things. Bottles are great, great experience is great. So we're hoping to kind of document this and share, and we're excited about it.
One of the bottles I got from the Blendery is one of my favorite bottles I've had in the last year. So they make really good stuff. I know some of their ryes have won awards, so I'm really looking forward to this experience.
Yeah, so I'm out here. One of the only reasons I'm out here today is because of these guys right here. This is Cody and Garrett from the Bourbon Nerds. It's a brand new podcast. They're on Spotify, they're on YouTube. Check them out. They talk everything whiskey. They blend in a little bit of movies, music, pop culture, and sports. It's a really good podcast. Check it out, give them a listen. And if you're new to my channel, subscribe, hit that like button. And if you guys have been watching and you're not a subscriber yet, subscribe, hit that like button, and just give me some support so I can come out here and keep doing these whiskey hunts and all these other adventures. Take it easy, guys.
But for the most part, like, everything is over 6 years old for our blendings, our tastings, the food on bottle. Today, the barrel's in the 7 to 8 year range.
It's a good range.
It is all Indiana sourced whiskey, so it was distilled at Ross and Squibb, Midwest Grain Products, MGP. If you know it from way back, Seagram and Sons. So it's that plant in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. It's right there in Bourbon country, just over the Ohio River from Kentucky. So that's where all of the whiskey's coming from. And a really nice mix of different flavor profiles, because I want to have things that apply to your bourbon drinkers, apply to your rye drinkers, and then maybe something that's a little bit in between. And I think we have that with what we have over there in the store. Perfect. So it is a little bit crowded and loud over here, so let's go next door. So we can use that, and then once you kind of get situated back there,
Nice little warehouse here.
off of the wood board there.
Tons of barrels.
Well, welcome. Again, my name's Andy. Happy to have you guys here. So we are a full-fledged DSP. So we have our distilled spirits permit. We can bottle here on site, like what you see right here. This is our bonded warehouse. So all of our barrels of whiskey that have whiskey in the barrel is all stored over here. Everything you saw next door, those are barrels that have been recently dumped or potentially barrels that we would utilize for finishing. So if we're going to utilize those for finishing, we bring them over here to the barrel house because it's our bonded premises, and this is where we do all of our experimenting. Let's get into the first one over here. So this first one, it's a silicone bung, and that basically means like there's nothing to yank out of the bung hole. But with the last two barrels, if you guys want to, you can. If one of you wants to use the slide hammer right here, we can do that. But this first one, just to get rolling, you're the only one that needs a glass here?
Yeah, that's mine.
Perfect, awesome. So I'm going to use the cup. You done with that? Yes, sir. All right, perfect. So I'm going to use this. We'll get some whiskey in your glass, and I'll tell you a little bit about this cup as well when we get back. Okay. So for barrels that are lower yield, then we can use the hand to get to them. So we'll go through these guys. We'll do 5 minutes or so of discussion, 5-10 minutes a barrel. And then before you make your decision in the next 45 minutes or so on which one you want in the bottle, we can definitely circle back. So don't feel like you have to try it once real quick and make a decision on it. So if you're in between two barrels, we definitely can kind of circle back and revisit those before we make our final decisions. So one of the things I like to do, give you a quick tutorial on how I nose and taste whiskey and like what I'm thinking about when I'm drinking whiskey. So nosing, which you all are doing already, what is that at its core? It's like sensory perception, right? So you're preparing through your brain for what your palate is about to taste. So what's about to hit those taste buds, right? Cool thing about whiskey, it's very subjective. So it could be different from one person to the next. I think this has some leather, some tobacco, some sweet oak, and then you'll get some of what I call candy sweetness, the toffees, the caramels,
like
the
a
vanillas
char.
on it.
Yeah.
And then there might even be a little bit of what I call fruit sweet also. You get a little bit of citrus, maybe a little bit of apple, and then maybe even a little bit of red fruit on the back end of it also.
Definitely get that citrus.
Now, maybe you guys have been drinking since 9 a.m., I don't know.
No,
But
I hope
it's just
not.
kind of a nice way to set your palate and ease your way into drinking cask strength whiskey like we're going to be doing this.
So what's the proof on this one?
That one, so this is barrel 164.
124.
It is right around, it's a little over 117 proof.
117.
And then what I want to show you guys, and actually I'm just going to use barrel 167 here because it is a sister barrel, on how we read the barrels, okay? So the first two numbers there, that's actually the last two numbers in the year. So this barrel was filled in 2016. The letter in this case is I. It's correlated to a month. That happens to be September.
Okay.
A, January, B, February, and so on. And then the last two numbers is actually the day of the month. So this is September 15th of 2016. So later this year, this barrel will turn 9. So we're trying about a 8.5-year-old, and in this case, it's going to give you the mash bill on the sticker as well. It is a bourbon. It is 21% rye. So the reason why I do this is very strategic. The one we tried next door, it was an 8-year, 21% rye, same mash bill, proofed.
Yeah.
This is an 8-year, 21% rye, 75 corn, 4 malted barley, same mash bill, not proofed.
Yeah.
So I think like if you kind of compare the two of those, there's some pretty definitive differences. Yeah. Cool. All right, well, let's get
Awesome.
into the next one here. Somebody want to go for it?
I can do it.
Pull this one.
I'm gonna
Yeah, you did it. Iron right. Yeah.
gonna thief it.
It's just weight transfer. So you're just going to throw that hammer upward to the sky very, very quickly. It should come out of there pretty easily. Just very forcefully, straight up.
Get
Oh,
that.
well, shoot. That was very. They set
God,
me up
he's
for success
strong.
there.
You did. All right, you wanna
He's the Hulk.
Yeah, the Hulk, man.
He's been working out.
I don't know my own strength. You won't like me when I'm angry.
The good news is the last barrel I think is a little bit. It's a little bit tighter in the hole there.
Oh,
as they say,
hey.
Well, some of us like it tight.
so we'll be able to.
Is it okay to grab it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I
Yeah.
don't want to.
Just give everybody a little pour.
All right.
So the welcome pour, 21% rye bourbon, single barrel proofed. The first pour we tried, 21% rye bourbon, cask strength. So this one we're gonna go pretty considerably different. So this is a 300 level barrel. This is a 95% rye.
Okay.
So this was a 16K. So this will also turn 9 years old later this year.
Ooh,
Like a lot more.
that
Another 8.5, but in this case, there is no corn, no wheat in this one. It's 95 rye, 5 malted barley.
really? That's rye.
Over it yourself, too.
Yeah, I got
It's coming across really sweet.
A lot of what we see with the ryes, as they get to 8.5, 9 years old.
Very honey forward.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so when you toast and char the inside of a barrel, it's going to open up the pores in the wood. It's going to bring out those natural wood sugars that sit in wood that don't get released unless you toast or char them. And then if you let that mash bill, that 95 rye, no corn, no wheat, slosh around in there with those natural wood sugars in the wood going in and out of those staves year after year, it's going to give it some uncharacteristic
What is that
sweetness
fruit?
It's like a honey nut oak.
that you wouldn't expect from
That's a good
a
description.
mash bill.
Yeah, I mean,
Man.
It's corn and wheat.
There is a
have
fruit
their
in there, though.
corn,
There's a
their
fruit.
like a date or something.
Yeah.
Rye, even though the rye grain is typically more on the
Or
spice
prune
side,
or
it has a
something?
nice sweetness to it after that.
What'd you
It's
say
like
the
a
mash bill
dark-
was again?
95 rye.
It's a 95, right?
Yes.
95.
Maybe more like a plum.
Yeah.
It's like a red sweet.
Yeah. Ooh.
I like
pretty
it.
good.
Yeah.
I like that
It's
one.
crazy what rye.
Tommy
like
likey.
having no corn and stuff. It just tastes like a good bourbon,
That's
man.
soft.
That's a really light rye spice on the end. It's like
really
not
good.
too spicy.
So throw out some what you're getting on the nose, on the flavor profile. Like rye at its core, you're gonna get floral, you're gonna get dill, you're gonna get some mint. Obviously, there's some baking spice,
like,
black pepper.
What are those little, those honey flowers like?
Honeysuckles? Yeah.
Honeysuckles.
Yeah.
Honeysuckle.
I agree. I was getting some kind of honey
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I get that at Weller 12
Like
sometimes.
it's
Yeah.
a little bit more
Very light
intense
honey.
honey.
Yeah.
Rye spice is light.
Yeah.
I'm kinda
And it's
into
light,
it.
too. It's
One
nice.
thing
About the
reminds me of
95
honeysuckle.
ryes. To speak to what you is it Daniel?
Yes.
To speak to what Daniel just said.
It's not
Is I love the rye spice when it comes through in the mid palate toward the back of the palate.
Mm.
Because whiskey folks, they look for the nose, they look for the palate, and then they look for that finish. And I think that rye spice, when it kicks in and ramps up, it allows the finishes to carry. So you're tasting like a pleasant whiskey vibe for, longer than just right after
Yeah.
you swallow and it goes away.
That's what it is. It's
I think
rye
when
all
that
the way
spice
home.
I get like a honey graham
No, I
cracker.
get like a
Balance
honey
in
graham
there.
cracker rye spice. Like it just goes boom,
Mhm.
boom, boom.
Mhm.
Nice.
Oh man,
I love it. We're 2 for 2. 3
Yeah.
for 3, for that matter.
we're rocking and rolling,
So
man.
Some things that I like to touch on, guys, just kind of cool actual stuff on specifics of what's in here. Specifics of what's in here, and also just specifics on whiskey barrels in general. So your traditional whiskey, rye, bourbon barrel, it's a 53-gallon capacity. So we correlate 5 750 milliliter bottles to a gallon. So you're looking at a whiskey barrel when it's full, which here in Texas we know that very rarely ever happens because of that crazy angel share we talked about earlier. We're looking at 260 to 270 bottles in a barrel.
Nice.
So on average, with the whiskeys we're drinking today, the 7 to 8 year range, they've obviously had quite a bit of time for that angel share evaporation loss on an annual basis to happen. So these barrels, they were in Lawrenceburg for 5 or 6 years. They've been here in Texas now for a couple years. So you're looking at 140 to 180 bottles or so, typically in those barrels. And then we found even some of them getting them in from Lawrenceburg, even after 5 or 6 years of aging, we were seeing like 35-40% loss in the barrels. One of the things that's nice about the barrels that we received this week on Tuesday is we're seeing some higher yields, which means when we find a great barrel that we're going to bottle as a single barrel, there'll be more bottles to go around with those. Especially like Darren said something that he mentioned the single malt. So the single malts, we had the first ever 85% fill. So those will turn 7 next month. So to have an 85% fill on almost 7-year-old whiskeys, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so some of those, the first couple of groups that come in to do picks of those, there'll just be more to go around. Obviously, we're limited by the yield of the barrels, and we try to make as many people happy as we can.
Yeah.
So the higher yields, hopefully we'll be able to spread it around a little bit more to more folks. The whiskey in here right now, we tried a 3.5-year wheated bourbon this morning that for what it is, I think it's going to be fantastic with a couple of years of aging here in Texas. And then last year, we dumped a 25-year-old American light whiskey. So you're looking at like 3 to 25-year-old whiskey, 13 different mash bills. And then right now, we have around 20 different finishing barrels that could potentially be in play for like experimenting for our projects. And that includes, most recently, we developed a relationship with Calvin Cooperage. If you're not familiar with what that is, the best analogy I can kind of give you, they're the Rolex, the Tiffany, the Rolls Royce of the barrel making game. For many reasons. Most of the top two is they spare no expense, and they also are not really concerned with the amount of time it takes to produce a superior product. They'll air dry and season their staves, which basically means they're prepping the wood that's going to go into making the barrel sometimes for 2 years before they do it. And then the big thing that sets them apart from any other cooperage in the world is they use all natural open flame to toast and char their barrels, whereas almost every other cooperage, at least a majority of the time, they're going to use propane, so like an artificial flame, which some folks say it affects the flavor profile of the whiskey a little bit. But what we find, we have wonderful Speyside cooperage whiskey. We have wonderful independent stave cooperage whiskey. Our McGinnis cooperage barrels have been awesome also. But typically, on average, single barrel quality wise, the Calvin Cooperage barrels are producing the highest percentage of those. So one of the cool things that we did is we developed a relationship with them. Those 5 barrels up there, those are all custom toast and char level barrels that Calvin Cooperage made specifically for
Nice.
What char level?
I'm sorry?
What char level?
So they vary.
Various.
So the
There's
ones
all
that we've
different
been
ones.
using so far that I can speak to are the medium level. So medium toast, medium char is going to be like in the 3 range. So that is like a level 3 toast or a medium toast barrel, and that was the McKinney Bourbon Collective, Your Toasted Barrel Delight. So we did a toasted rye in that. It turned out really nice. You asked me, Andy, what does it do to the whiskey? Well, it's almost like toasting a marshmallow over a campfire. Some people like a flaming fireball that's dark and charry and smoky, and that would be one that you would probably finish for a longer period of time in a level 4 or level 5 heavy char. In this case, we did a medium toast. So it's basically like that person that likes that marshmallow over the fire for a very short period of time, where it gets
lightly
like a light
brown,
yellowish golden brown.
Yeah.
So that's what we did to that, and that's what it does to the whiskey. It sweetens it up subtly. It gives it a little bit more of a smoky, oaky finish to it, but it's very subtle because it was a very good rye whiskey to begin with. Any questions?
So you're just finishing in those barrels. Are you blending barrels and finishing them together in those?
So that one just happened to be a finished single barrel.
Okay.
We do blended finished stuff.
Nice.
We will do more blended finished stuff in those barrels, and then we'll do blended finished stuff in Amberana, Jacara, Apple Brandy, Port, Sherry, LaCroix
Nice.
Chardonnay. There's a lot of different things in play right now, and then with the addition of the 13th mash bill, that single malt, what it does is just adds more variables and facets to the ranges of flavor profiles that we can achieve with the blending and the finishing. And if you've tried any of our stuff, or if you follow the social media at all, the coolest thing for me to see is blending with MGP base whiskey, no finishing, and achieving really, really cool flavor profiles. Like plum pipe tobacco is a good example. And then this next one, it's a really good single barrel. It drinks nicely as is, but this mash bill in particular also blends very well, we found, and it plays well with a bunch of other mash bills. So this is a bourbon. It is a 99% corn bourbon,
Wow.
1% malted barley. So we're going from 95 rye
Yeah.
to no rye.
The other
at all
direction.
on this next one. So let's get some of this in your glass. And some projects that you've seen this in, the McKinney Bourbon Collective Banana Hammock. That one had
a good name.
40% of this 99% corn bourbon, and then 60% of a 95% wheat. And the cool thing about that one is we had never had a barrel of this 99% corn bourbon that we ever had any banana notes on. Same with the wheat. And then also with blending those, we never had a blend that we got any of that banana note on. And that one, in the right capacity with the two barrels that were used, it just had like a very prevalent banana note. And I know, like, if you drank whiskey over the last 5 or 6 years, if you've had Barton from 1792, you've had Old Forester, or you've had some Jack Daniels, sometimes you get that very banana forward note on it. And what I was told is that comes from the yeast. So it's actually the yeast strain that's used. So Barton, and then obviously Old Forester and Jack Daniels, they're under the Brown-Forman umbrella. So they're like the same brand. So that actually comes from the yeast. And in this case, I think it came more from the grains just working perfectly with the way that those barrels aged, and then obviously like the subtle influence of the yeast in those. So it really, really came out when we put them together in the right capacity.
Does smell kind of like banana.
Yeah, you do get a little bit of ripe banana on it. Like I could see where that would come from.
And I get, so on this one, I get some citrus. And
Yeah.
I also get like, and I know it, you're going to say, oh, it makes sense because it's 99% corn. But that kind of has like a vibe on the nose that's like creamed corn.
Yeah.
My mom makes like a corn souffle, and it kind of, when I nose
like
that,
Buttery cream
it kind of
corn.
reminds me of that like buttery, yeah, exactly. Anybody have a clear favorite, like you're ready to say this is the one?
I mean, I like the 95.
Yeah, the rye. I like that one a lot.
I want to try that first one again.
Yeah, the first one was pretty
It
good.
was very. It's kind of like a roller coaster.
Yeah, I'm definitely between the first two.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get a little.
Yeah, this is
Get a
more
little refill on
bourbony
that one.
corn.
Yeah, I think this one would be really good mixed with some. I think mixing with
As a blend, oh my god, that would blend
So
really
I
nice.
don't know. One of you all, were you here a little? So you probably saw me rolling that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's about a 10% yield in that right now.
getting a burn on it, almost like a
So
rye.
if you look at the
It's kinda
dipstick, so like a 10% yield is going to be right down around there. But you're also potentially, like, we could get 35 bottles, 40 bottles out of that.
Wow.
So if you look at that, that's kind of how we do it. We have it raised up a little bit. And
What's
then
the
the
proof
one,
on this one?
that one is 120 plus. That one
Really?
is one, yeah, a little
It
over
drinks
one.
like the lowest.
I can see it on the end with the
You
spice
saw me move that barrel over there, so that's a little bit
Drinks
more
light
full.
to me.
So a full
till the finish.
53-gallon bourbon barrel can weigh up to 550 pounds. That one's not full.
Yikes.
But a barrel like this, so an empty barrel that's never had whiskey in it before, weighs right around 100 pounds.
Lingers.
And then what's kind of cool is if you have a freshly dumped barrel, it can weigh up to like 125 pounds.
I think it's
So you have like 25 pounds of liquid mass like in the staves of that barrel.
Yeah.
And if you come over here, guys, this is kind of a cool like side profile of staves. So you can see what they call the red line. So that's
Yeah.
actually the penetration line, and you can see in some areas
It's like a water line.
it penetrated about 80% into those staves. And that's where you're getting all, like when you put the whiskey in the barrel, it's White Dog or Distiller's Mash or Distiller's Beer, right? So it's clear grain alcohol, and then
Mm-hmm.
that right there is a visual representation of where you're getting most of the color, the flavor, and the viscosity in the whiskey when we end up
Mm.
you know, drinking it.
Go a little deeper. Go a little deeper. There you go. Now up.
You gotta penetrate it.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Okay, now 45 and just kind of start spinning it.
Nice.
Now tilt it straight up and let the top kind of level off.
That looks pretty good.
Push it real good.
Push it real
Now,
good. All right.
let's see if you can go deeper than he did.
I'll do my best.
Do you have what it takes?
Is that good?
Now go deeper.
Okay.
Okay, now come on.
Deeper and deeper.
Just kind of give it a twist. Keep it pointed down, pretty good angle. There you go. Now keep turning it.
Got a little bubble in there.
That's okay. Let it drip off. All right, come straight up with it. See if we can get the top to level off.
Maybe I'll do mine a little deeper. Yeah, I'm gonna
Keep that cork pointed down. There you go. All right, now come straight up with it. Got a little drippage, but that's okay. That cold water will.
He's fine. He's just a good.